So this time, I want us to learn a bit more about melody and harmony and how we can make them work together a bit better. I'm going to choose, again, I'm actually going to choose the harpsichord this time instead of the piano. It's another keyboard instrument, but it sounds a lot different. So last time we wrote, if I want to say it was like this. Or was it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Not the biggest fan. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to start again on C, go up, like that. I want you to keep it, I want you to only put these notes in. Alright, only these 3 notes in there. You can double up on them, you can put them anywhere, I don't care. Just C, E, and G. Something like that would be great right there. That'd be perfect. Alright, then I want you to do a different grouping of letters. If you remember from last time we did, it was C, and then F, and then G, and then back down to C. We're going to do that again. Only do these letters, and then these letters, and then back to these letters. Alright, so whatever melody you write it using those letters and those measures. Can I pause this? And you can pause this, just be ready for when, just get that ready, and then continue on. Alright, I hope that you have something good, but if not, it'll still work for what we're doing here. A lot of this is not really the time to worry so much about what sounds the best, and more just what sounds fine. So here's the melody I did. It sounds fine. Alright, and then, as you might expect, down here in the harmony, do those specific notes. If you can remember that C is this one down here, awesome. If not, just remember to always check it down there. C, E, G, and then we'll do F, A, C. Now, you might be a little torn here. I told you have to use F, A, and C, and you could use any of those. Like any F. I could do that F or that F. You could do the same thing with the harmony. So, let's do, we could do F, A, C like that. Or we could do F, A, C like that. Or we could even change it up even more. As long as F, A, and C are the only notes in here, it doesn't matter. Now, maybe I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. It does impact how it sounds. Like this. And that. And that have different sounds. It could be a little more minor of a change, but it is different nonetheless. Alright, and then let's do, that's a G, B, D, and I'm going to move this one again up to the higher B, all the way up there. See, it's still B, still kosher. And I could just go back down to the same C, E, G from before. And actually, I kind of like that, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Alright, so right here, this is what we call a chordal progression. Now first, I want to give another definition on melody. This note's a C. This note's a C. A melody usually does that. It starts and stops on the same note. Same note name, at least. Oftentimes the same exact note, as in, these are both C5. So, technically, we could do this. But I think it does work out to start and end on the exact same. So this one melody in a musical phrase, it starts and stops on the same note. Now we're going to go ahead and put some numbers in here, and hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. These numbers are going to be in Roman numerals. I'm going to do I, IV, V, I. Now you may know that those are, let's do it down here, 1, 4, 5, and 1, right? Now these, let's get, whoops, we'll just delete that. Alright, let's figure out why I said this is 1, 4, 5, 1. And then we'll also get the idea of why is that even important, and why do I keep choosing these particular chords? Do you have to use these chords? The answer is no. Some people will tell you yes. The answer is no. You don't have to do this. But this is a very easy starting point for a song. So let's just understand what these numbers even have to do with the stuff you see in front of you. That's a C, and that's an F. How far apart are those? Well, if C, let's pretend C is 1. D would be 2. E is 3. F is 4. C is 1. F is the 4th note above it. G is the 5th note above C. And then we end back on C, so it's back on the 1. And that's why we focused on those particular notes. Each of these is a chord. This is a 1 chord in the key of C. Don't worry about that key word just yet. Let's just pretend everything is based around C. It's going to be the easiest way to approach this. So, let's pretend it's all around C. So if C is 1, it makes it a lot easier to see why F is 4, G is 5, and so on and so forth. It also helps you understand what notes to put in each part of the melody. While we're still in the 1 chord area, I'm only choosing notes from the 1 chord. We didn't do that in our last piece, and I think it suffered a little bit for it. Just a little bit. I think it's a lot better when we're able to keep those notes mostly in chord. You don't have to keep all the notes in the melody the same as the notes in the harmony, but keeping it close can be a good strategy. Let's listen to this again, and I want you to tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Alright, it probably does. And at least part of that reason is going to be because I don't remember what this is, but it sounds really familiar. But part of it's because of these things. Like here, if I put these on their own, and especially if I simplified it by putting those notes closer together, I'll wager that you have heard probably 1,000 million pop songs with that exact sound. This is a very, very common chordal progression. So this is what we call a chordal progression, because it's chords in a sequence that sounds good. This is probably the most common progression that you will ever hear, because you will hear it in just about every pop song. There's this, I remember a while back, there's a really famous, really viral YouTube video where someone did like a dozen different pop songs. He did renditions of them using just those 4 chords and showed just like, hey, it really showed that all these songs, even when they change up their melody, they're all using the exact same chordal progression, so they end up sounding pretty similar. Whatever you wrote probably doesn't sound too different from what I wrote. Even if our melody is a little different, when you are focused around the same progression, you can start sounding pretty similar. So why does this one get so much use? Well, probably because it's fine. It's a very safe progression. There are other progressions we could have done. Like here, let me show you something. Let's copy this over. Copy over that. We could do, instead of FAC, let's just go up to E, G, B. You know, and that would be, if C is 1, D is 2, E is 3. That would be a 3, and yes, it's going to be lowercase. Don't worry about that. So then instead of based around FAC, I do E, G, B. So there's B, there's E, there's G. And it starts sounding like this. Oh, I forgot to do this part too. Well, I wanted it to be that it didn't sound good, you know, so I could show you it, but yeah, it actually sounds okay, I think. Trust me, though, when I tell you, not every progression will sound nice. 1-4-5-1 is just a really, really safe one, and can be a great starting place. Let's go a bit further. I'm going to keep the 1-4-5-1, but here's what I'm also going to do. Right between the 5 and the 1, the place that sounds, well, let's listen again. It sounds resolved. It's supposed to, anyways. These things usually sound resolved, so I'm going to actually do something. Go up here. I'm going to add a new measure. Oops. Just one new measure, please. And I'm going to do 6. Now, a 6 chord, well, let's think. C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G 5, and A would be 6. A, C, E. A, C, E. See how that's A, that's C, that's E? Cool. Let's just hear what that sounds like without melody. Ooh, almost bad. Maybe not bad, but I mean as in, you know, scary almost. A, C, E. Sure, good enough. Okay. Let's listen to that now. From the beginning. And by the way, playing something from the beginning is, in my opinion, the best way to write a song. You just play it over and over again from the beginning. Listen to the whole thing in context. Highly recommend that. Alright, but let's listen. Ooh, okay. So this right here, it's a little surprise. I put something else in there. The advanced student might write down right now that a 6 chord can interrupt a 5-1 resolution in a safe way, we'll say. So you see how we go 5, 6, and then we go on. It's kind of a surprise, right? It's a very safe surprise. It'll usually sound good to do that. So if you wanted your musical phrase to last just a little bit longer, that is a great way to do it. Throw in a 6 between the 5 and the 1. That is, if you're doing a 1-4-5-1 progression. If you're not, I wouldn't worry. Well, there's probably some other thing you can do. Pretty much any chordal progression, though, with 5-1 can be interrupted in this way with a 6. Now, how did I choose what notes are in the harmony? I didn't really choose. I mean, just listen to it, see what you think, see what you like. But that's what ends up with 1-4-5-1, but interrupted. Now, is that the name of this? Well, no, not really. It's really called a deceptive cadence, because most of your listeners will be expecting it to go from 5 to 1, but you shocked them and put a 6 in instead. And it was common enough of a thing that it gave it a name. Deceptive cadence. But you don't really need to worry about that now. What I want you to get from this lesson is chordal progressions are a great way to organize your music. An easy one to remember and practice for now is 1-4-5-1. I'd recommend you write some musical phrases, maybe even whole songs, with 1-4-5-1 for each phrase. In addition, I'd recommend throwing in a 6 in there every so often, just to mess with it, see what it sounds like. The next thing I want you to remember is that the notes of the melody should probably basically match the notes in the harmony. Now, the way I have it here, all of my melody notes match what's in the harmony. They don't have to. Like, if you decide to do something else, that's fine. But just keep in mind that it should be a majority of them. And then the last little lesson to grab is that you should start and stop a phrase on the same note. Alright, and I think that's about it. Feel free to try any other chords. You will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 7, and then it goes back down to 1 again because the next note is also a C. Alright, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed, hope you've learned something new. See you later.